I'm Ben Fogel, and I'm about to set sail to live the life of a North Sea fisherman. But this will be no free ride. I'm here to take on this most dangerous of jobs.
You know, if you're working in the ocean, that is how cruel it is.
Hauling thousands of fish from the sea and working without rest for up to 24 hours at a time.
The thing I'm starting to realise is there's absolutely nowhere to escape on board.
I've been on some big adventures, but I've got a feeling nothing could prepare me for how tough this is going to be. Setting sail on 3 very different boats. I want to find out just what draws these men back to the sea, day after day, each time putting their lives on the line.
Can you get it over there, mate?
From the camaraderie of the trawlermen,
It's better than sitting in an office all day, though, you know? Sending emails back and forth to your pals.
to the crew of the prawn boats, hunting their elusive prey.
Yeah, it looks a bit heavy. Maybe not.
And the loneliness of the crab fishermen.
You're missing a finger.
Welcome to the North Sea. I get the feeling it's going to be one hell of a ride. I've survived my trip spent hunting for haddock and cod.
Bloody hell.
But there's another type of North Sea fishing that I want to experience. It will mean going out with a smaller crew as they comb the floor of the huge North Sea, looking for an elusive, high-value catch. To give them their continental name, they're langoustines. The locals just call them prawns. It's a dangerous mission, with the nets often catching and tearing on the seabed. But it's a risk worth taking. The prawns are worth £82 million a year to the fishermen from this part of the world. I'm going hunting for these prawns on board the trawler Pleiades with skipper Gary Hepburn.
Gary?
Hi, Ben.
Ah, hey, found the right boat. How are you?
You made it there.
I did. Hey, guys.
You
Hey,
saying a cup of tea?
I'm Ben, you're...
Alan.
Alan, nice to meet you, Alan.
I know Steve.
Steve. Lloyd, very nice to meet you. There's only 4 of us, well, 5 in total.
Oh, we need you.
I'm thinking a lot of work.
We need you. Time and tide waits for no man.
We set sail in the dark, just as most people are going to bed. We'll be out here working until the weather turns, or we're fully loaded with prawns. That could take anything up to a week. We're sailing into the world's biggest fishing grounds for this type of prawn. When we arrive, we send out a net that combs the sea floor, hopefully finding the prawns that could mean a big payday for the skipper and his crew. We don't need the tons of fish we saw on Rosebloom, just a few good hauls of this high-value crop to make it all worthwhile. But as the first net comes up, even I can see that it's not a good start to the voyage.
No use, no use. I'm just missing a toilet seat in the old boat.
I saw some tin cans in there.
Aye.
So, net's deployed again. Now there's some old Wellington boots I think we have to look through.
Back below deck, there's the small task of sorting through the muddy contents of the net and getting to know my new crewmates.
Now the skipper, Gary, he's your uncle.
Yeah, he's my uncle.
And so he said that his brothers, so your father is also a fisherman.
He's a fisherman as well.
Is that a strange dynamic, fishing with your father, or is it something you've always done? So it's
Not really. It's just something. Something you get used to. You don't really mind. You just think of him as your boss.
To please the boss, we're going to need to do better than this.
that's what we're after.
That's what we're after. There's not enough there to make a prawn cocktail.
Look at that, they really are like it really is like in a comic book.
When the nets come back empty like this, the finger often gets pointed at the new boy on board.
No, I thought we was going to have to take you back to the harbour.
Oh, really?
Sorry, Ben. No.
Oh, what? Because I'm bringing bad luck?
You're unlucky.
It's not been a good start to my time on board Pleiades.
While many people have left the office, they're at home, tucked up in front of the television, maybe watching this. This is what's going on out in the North Sea. Spend a couple of days out here and you'd completely forget what day of the week it is. It wouldn't be long before you forgot what month it was.
Hard-working fishermen go way back in Gary's family.
So this is a family tradition for you?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Father?
Yes,
Grandfather?
yes,
Great-grandfather?
yes.
Wow, and it keeps going back, does it?
Probably does, yes,
Wow.
right.
Gary got this boat just 5 years ago, an event he said was as exciting as his wedding day. But he's one of the few skippers who have stayed in the industry.
When I started, there were maybe 20 or 30 boats working this areas, and now we're maybe down to 6, 7. People take the simpler option and move somewhere else.
Oil?
Oil?
Has that affected a lot of the fishermen here?
Oh
Do you think
yes,
it's depleted
definitely,
them?
definitely.
Good money on the oil rigs and government restrictions on how long these boats can spend at sea has drawn many fishermen away. And with every empty or torn net, you can see why the rewards are hard to come by in this difficult job. 32 hours into our voyage, there's another snag in the plan that costs Gary more fishing time and money.
Now we're having to haul a bit early because we think we've broke something. Might be a sweep, might be a wire. You've also got to worry that you break your second sweep and lose your net. Lose your net, lose your catch. A net's maybe 2,000–3,000 pounds. And a catch maybe 500–600 pounds. So, quite a lot at stake. What have I done to deserve this?
How's it looking, Gary?
It should be a quick fix, but I know it's a torn bit in the wing, so it might be a bit more than we think.
The net's become snagged on the seabed, with the force tearing right through an inch-thick metal cable.
If you want to see the power, look at that.
It's an overnight fix. I'm sharing the crew's desperate disappointment and hoping the trip will turn around for them, but so little is in their hands. And daylight brings yet more problems.
Something has got stuck in the net and closed it. This could have lost us one of their daytime walls, which are pretty valuable, really.
I'm thinking it's probably just mud that we've picked up. We're working with quite a lot of weight in this situation.
There's another tense moment as 275 meters of chains and nets are hauled back to the surface.
Keep your eyes open for any damage to the net. Could have been a stone, could have been a piece of wire. Mending time again.
You're going to have spent more time sewing than fishing.
I think a sane person would have been off his head long by now.
After the bounty of fish delivered by the Rosebloom, this trip is a reality check for me. Gary needs prawns in the nets to get money to run the boat and pay the crew.
The crew has to get a pay from somewhere this week.
So where does that come from, if we don't catch anything?
Well, someone else has to do without. Either the boat share or... We've always got a bit put aside for a rainy day, so... We've had a whole week of rainy days this week.
The only thing keeping spirits up is dinner. And what else would be on the menu except fish and chips? But not everyone on board seems to be a fan.
I just started eating fish about 3–4 years ago.
You didn't eat it before?
I didn't like fish before that.
You're joking.
No.
Why?
I'd never tried it.
Your father was a fisherman. You've got 3 brothers who are fishermen.
Aye.
And you'd never tried it.
I'd never tried it before that.
It's bed and rest, and I'm hoping for Gary's sake we get a fresh start tomorrow.
Nice.
Waking at dawn, the net's fixed and in the ocean. It seems like a good day for fishing. But after all our problems, it's an act of God that's the final straw bringing our voyage to an end.
I'm looking at the weather forecast and I think we'll just call it a day. Enough's enough. And we'll have this haul. Hopefully we'll get some prawns, but either way, we're out of here.
Well, so a lot of money riding on that potentially. If you get a bumper haul, you'll be a happy man.
It'll need to be a good haul. It'll need to be a big one.
Yeah.
No, what we get's what we get.
As the sun goes down on my last day on board Pleiades, it's time for that crucial last haul. Could it possibly turn our voyage around? We've had 3 difficult days fishing on board Pleiades. Our nets were ripped apart, leading to a through-the-night repair operation. Stormy weather ahead means we could be heading home with little to show for all our efforts. This is the last throw of the dice as we haul for prawns one final time.
It looks a bit heavy. Maybe, maybe not.
It looks like we won't be going back empty-handed after all. At last our luck has changed, meaning Gary's got a fighting chance of at least breaking even.
Right, off to do some processing.
I'm not a born fisherman, but after all the setbacks this week, I can see why the crew get so excited when the nets come in full.
Yeah, it's a good haul. It's probably the best haul of the week, the last one. It's just exciting in general. You know you're on your way home.
With something to show for 3 days of hard work, we can head back to dry land with our heads held high.
So what do you think, Ben? Is that a bit better this time?
I'd say there's a few more this time, Skipper.
As it stands, we've got something for our day. Persistent. Flogging a dead horse. That's what it's all about.
As we steam home, I have one more question for Gary.
So do you become a fisherman, or are you born a fisherman?
I think it's to be in you. I think it's to be in you. It's maybe a silly gene in the family.
A brave gene, I think.
It's more than just money. It's more than just a job. It's what do you do, someone might ask you. It's not your job you're declaring, it's your life.
It's who you are.
It's what I am.
Riding home ahead of the storm, we're on our way to harbour. We unload 45 boxes of prawns, worth around £5,000, and they'll be on their way across Europe within 24 hours. Thankfully, it's turned out to be an unexpectedly good end to the trip.